Welcome to Positive Parenting Today. I'm Jacqueline Muñiz from the Children's Services Council of Palm Beach County, your host for today's show. A recent study reported by Reuters News Services found that 1 in 3 parents has little knowledge of infant development. Knowing about typical child development can help parents understand how they can support their child as they conquer each milestone of development. The inability to anticipate their child's needs during these important milestones can lead to parental self-doubt and frustration and interfere with the parent-child relationship, which is vital in the first 3 years of a child's life. Based on this information, we are so excited to launch a series of programs that will explore the touchpoints of child development. The concept of touchpoints is a different approach to thinking about child development. It is a theory based on the work of Dr. T. Barry Brazelton, world-renowned expert in pediatrics and child development, and author of over 40 books including Touchpoints, Birth to 3. According to Dr. Brazelton, child development is not linear. Instead, it consists of predictable bursts, pauses, and regressions. Right before a child is going to burst in a particular line of development, they will regress or fall apart in another area of development, just for a short period of time, until they have mastered a new skill or reached a new milestone. Dr. Brazelton states that there are 8 touch points of child development in the first year of a child's life, beginning prenatally. Since touch points are predictable, parents can anticipate them and plan how to help support their child through these rough patches. So in order to introduce you to Dr. Brazelton's theory of child development, you will get to know families from our very own community who represent the diverse populations and cultures of our county. Through their experiences during these touch points, we will witness the development of a child, a parent, and a family, all in the context of relationships. So join me as we explore the prenatal touch point and get to know our first families, the Rolstons and the Bridgers. During the last trimester of pregnancy, expectant parents are getting to know their baby-to-be and are preparing themselves for the adjustments they will need to make when they finally welcome their baby into the world. Meet the Rolstons. Kevin and Kim have been married for 6 years. They have 2 children, Colin and Caitlin, and are expecting their 3rd child. They live their lives in the public eye because of Kevin's unique job as a DJ of a popular morning radio show.
Got 9:50 right now at the Wild Morning Show.
Kevin shares his family with the listeners of his morning show, and in return, the listeners have embraced his family. Everyone is anxiously awaiting the birth of their son, Cannon.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Jacobs. I'm a registered nurse specialist from Healthy Start. And thank you guys so much for letting me join you today in your home. And you're Kim and Kevin. Mm-hmm. And look at your tummy.
Yes, any day now. Little baby Cannon's going to be coming into this world.
Little baby who?
Cannon.
Oh, spell that for me.
C-A-N-N-O-N.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I noticed you have 2 other children.
Right, yes. They're twins.
Twins?
Mm-hmm.
How old are they?
They're 10.
Wow. So what are you thinking about the delivery?
Well, it's a scheduled C-section, so it's one of those that it's already planned, so now it's just the patient's game, kind of just waiting for that day to actually come.
Does that cause you less anxiety knowing it's planned, or more anxiety knowing that it's planned?
Maybe there's a little bit more anxiety, only because you do have a date that you're coming up on, whereas if you didn't know, you'd just be waiting for your water to break and stuff like that.
Right. So you've had a C-section before?
I did with the twins. We did.
Okay. So you kind of know what's going to happen as far as the recovery.
Right.
And how about you, Dad?
What
do you think? Oh, you don't know? Okay. Okay. Is this your first little one?
Yeah.
Okay. So how are you feeling about this whole thing?
I feel good because I'm not delivering the baby.
Are you excited?
Oh, very excited.
Any anxiety about what's going to happen?
No, I don't think anxiety is the best word. I mean, I'm just, I'm anxious, but I'm not tense about anything at all. So I think we're just ready to finally get the baby here.
Right.
Good.
The pregnancy was 9 months, but we've been trying for over 3 years, so it's been a long process.
So finally you're going to have that beautiful result. Huh?
Right.
It's going to be wonderful. So thinking about this upcoming delivery, how are the 10-year-olds thinking?
I think they're excited. I don't think that they actually realize what's to come with the baby. I mean, I know that they know that there's an addition coming to the family, but, you know, the late nights, the feeding every 4 hours, the dirty diapers, I don't really think they understand that until it's actually here, and it's like, ooh.
I think sometimes we as adults don't either.
Right.
You know, we kind of turn off what's the uncomfortable part of it, you know, the sleep deprivation and all those kinds of things, and we think about the joyful part, and then when it comes, it's like, whoa, I forgot about this part. In preparing for the baby, have you guys talked about what the baby's going to be like?
Yeah, because the baby, you know, we kind of know its sleep pattern now. You know, like at about 1:30, he'll really start moving around, and that's, you know, probably about the time Kevin's waking up anyway.
Oh, so 1:30 in the morning, in the middle of the night?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like we know, like that's probably like they say that even in the womb that, you know, they already have their sleeping pattern established. So, and then, you know, we had the 3D, 4D ultrasound, so, you know, the facial features are more like Kevin.
Yeah, that's pretty, we talk a lot about, like, who's got what features, so.
Right.
So you have an idea what this little baby's going to look like?
We think so, yeah. But, you know, you still hope, like, she has maybe more her complexion and not my calf muscles and, you know, things like that. So you kind of, like, wish that the baby has the better attributes of the two.
But there are times, like, when Kevin will talk to, you know, my belly, and then the baby will, like, really kick. And so
isn't that amazing?
Yeah, so we don't know if he's just responding or if he's, you know, just trying to kick him off, like, leave me alone.
Either he really likes me or he really can't stand me. I guess
well, you know, after about 4 months gestation, they can hear.
Right.
And they will recognize both your voice. He will recognize both your voices when he's born. He'll be able to distinguish your voice from my voice or from anybody else's voice.
Really?
Because he's been hearing these voices all the time. It's just an amazing thing. It really is. So when thinking about this baby, I think people kind of imagine when they're pregnant what the baby's going to be like. So we kind of think of the perfect baby, you know. Imagine kind of what it's going to be like. Is it going to be a perfect baby? And I think sometimes parents think too, well, what if I had a baby that's not going to be perfect? Because sometimes ultrasounds don't give us all the answers.
Right.
Sometimes tests don't give us all the answers. And have you guys gone there in your mind to think about what it would be like if the baby was something wrong with the baby when it was born?
This is something that we've been waiting for over 3 years. So, you know, that really isn't part of the...
Yeah, you know, we tried to have a baby about maybe 2 years ago, and we had complications, and you know, we wound up losing the baby. But you know, through that whole experience and talking to the doctors, and they said there's this complication, and you know, it kept getting compounded. That you know, we talked about it, and then you know, we were very apprehensive. I think even through this pregnancy, and we got to one point where she went to get an ultrasound done, and they said that she had too much fluid in the sac, or whatever it was, and so. They said it could lead to this and lead to that. And we had all the testing done for Down syndrome and all those kind of things. But then it immediately took our mind back to what if, you know, what could possibly be the issue. So you're right, because the ultrasounds don't totally tell you. So, I mean, we've kind of discussed it. And you know,
I think it's for all parents who are expecting a baby, it's always kind of like in the back of your mind and something that you ponder on. So you're thinking about, what if this happened? And then the perfect baby you're going to have, that imagined baby, and then when you get the baby, you're going to get the real baby.
Right.
And what that's going to be like to get to know that real little person that has born with their own temperament and their own little ways.
Yeah.
So have you guys thought about this real baby that you're going to get and what the baby's going to be like as far as temperament? Because you know maybe about each other's temperament, you know, and so what do you guys think about that?
I think the only thing that I've thought about with that is, you know, we'll just wait and see, you know, what it is we get. I haven't thought a whole lot about how the baby's going to act. I'm just trying to prepare myself mentally so when the baby does get here that I'm able to deal with whatever situation we might have. Good baby, bad baby, any kind of problems, defects, whatnot.
So, and I think sometimes we think about that good baby, bad baby, and we think sometimes a complacent baby that doesn't cry much and is always, you know, very compliant as being a good baby, and a baby on the other hand that's real, you know, cries a lot and is more demanding as a bad baby. And I think that sometimes we have to look at that as just being their temperament. Thinking about yourselves, you know, it's going to give you a good indicator of what maybe your baby might be like, because it may inherit a temperament from you or from your parents or your parents or a sibling that you have. So once the baby's about 4 months old, you're going to see those temperament traits coming out. You're going to, this baby's just like my brother. This baby's just like my
Do they
dad.
inherit that? Is
That is
something
an
that's
inherent. There's 10 temperament traits that are inherited.
Really?
Personalities
That's
develop.
genetic, then.
That's genetic.
Huh.
Yes. Whether you're flexible or you're feisty, or that's all genetic. And then those temperament traits that you're born with are mixed with our life experience, and that forms our personality.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of a neat thing. So what we want to work on with you a little bit more down the road when you have the baby is looking at the baby's temperament when the baby's 4 months old, and your temperament, because, you know, sometimes temperaments clash.
Sure.
And if you recognize what you are and what the baby is, it's
Right.
easier for you to work with the baby, saying, oh, well, this is the way he is, so let's see how we can work around that.
Okay.
And it makes it a lot easier for you, less conflict in the household sometimes, and
right.
it makes it easier, you know, life a happier place sometimes. Yeah. And then since it's a boy, what have you guys decided around circumcision?
Well, that was an interesting topic because with the twins, my son had a bris, which is 8 days later. We bring the oil in, and we do it at the house. But Kevin was thinking it was going to be too dramatic, so we're going to go ahead and at the hospital to have the circumcision done at the hospital.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good that you guys have discussed it, because sometimes that's a very hard decision for couples to make.
Right.
Very hard decision. So that's good. So what have you decided on as far as feedings go for your newborn?
We are going to breastfeed. You know, we're going to try it. For I think 4 to 6 months until we introduce him to, you know, baby food. And then, you know, we'll just go from there to see. I mean, we do have backup formula just in case the baby's with Kevin and there's no breast milk or something like that, and, you know.
Okay. Do you find that you get a lot of unsolicited advice from your friends?
Not so much now, but when I had the twins, yes. And, yeah, I mean, especially like if they would cry or something like that. And, you know, I was always brought up where, you know, you don't want to break their will, so you don't want them to, you always want to attend to them. But, yeah, everyone was like, well, if you do this, if you do that, you know, and everyone's different. You know?
Everyone's different. Every kid's different.
Right.
This baby will be totally different than the other two.
Right.
And you're going to be the expert on the baby, because you guys are going to be with that baby 24 hours a day. And when I come back to visit, I'll only be here for a short while. You guys are going to know what's going on with the baby and be able to read the cues.
Sure.
Right? Because the baby won't be able to speak to you, but he will through his language. You know, his language will be his behavior.
Okay.
And so I can help you with picking up on some of those cues when I come back.
Now,
So
it's
you'll
really
say,
like a baby language. I remember something like on Oprah, and she had somebody on there that could like talk to babies. And do you believe in
I
all
don't
that?
know about that, but I know by watching their behavior, they're telling us what their needs are and what they want. And you're going to pick up on it really fast because you'll be with the baby all the time.
Right.
But there's sometimes, some people think that when babies are born, they just eat, sleep, and go to the bathroom, and that's it. But they're born with so many skills intact. I'm looking forward to coming back, and good luck on the delivery, and it's nice to meet you both.
All right.
Meet the Bridgers. Ryan is an engineer and Amy is a journalist. They moved to Florida from North Carolina soon after their wedding 4 years ago. They are currently living in West Palm Beach with their dog Chance. The parents-to-be are preparing for the birth of their first child. Like the Rolstons, Amy and Ryan share the same questions and concerns facing all expectant parents.
Amy and Ryan, thanks a lot for letting me come in your house and visit with you today. I understand that maybe this is your first baby.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely. And look at your tummy.
Oh, it's big.
It's here.
Yeah. Looks like it's going to be soon.
4 days.
4
Yeah,
days.
4 days.
But who's counting?
Yeah, no, or sooner, hopefully.
Yeah. So what are you guys thinking about the upcoming delivery? What's going through your mind?
Oh gosh, I just want it to come, be here.
It's like waiting on Christmas.
Yeah.
Time to start slowing down as the closer you get. But it's exciting.
It's exciting.
Definitely.
Do you have any apprehensions or anxiety about the delivery, or
Lots.
like what are you thinking?
I don't. Well, I was really nervous about it, but read a lot of books and talked to my friends, and now I think I'm resigned that It's not going to be a lot of fun, but the end result will be worth it.
Okay.
I'm just sort of nervous about the actual labor, but.
Right, right. And you've planned for how you're going to handle that?
We have.
Pain management?
We have, and we have a birth plan, and we've talked with our doctor and taken classes, and so I think we've done everything we can do. I think it's just not knowing what to expect.
Not knowing what to expect is the hard part.
Right.
And thinking about your baby, what do you think the baby's going to be like? Have you thought about that?
Gosh, we think about that all the time.
Yes, lots of variables, I guess. We have friends who both have dark hair, and they've got a beautiful blonde-headed son, and so there's no telling. We're not even sure which gender it is.
Yeah, we don't know if it's a boy or a girl. No.
Wow,
Yeah,
so many
we're
people
excited.
these days really want to know. And is it something that you chose not to find out, or?
Definitely,
We
yeah.
thought it was just one of those surprises we'd like to have.
Isn't that going to be wonderful?
Yeah, we're really, that's the most exciting part. I don't know, it's all exciting, but.
It definitely makes it something to look forward to. It is no matter what. And we figure it's a surprise no matter when you find out. If it was 6 months ago when our friends were finding out, that was exciting. And,
right.
but now that...
we're glad we waited.
Yeah, for us.
Don't you think?
For us, it's good.
And I think sometimes things that we don't think about are with moms and dads who are about to have babies are that's like the imagined baby. Mm-hmm. And when you imagine your baby, you've got to imagine like 3 different kinds of babies.
Right.
So, and I'm thinking, because you usually have the imagined baby, the perfect baby that you think you might have, and then maybe what if it's not so perfect? And that's always running through parents' minds, I think. And then you end up with a real baby that you really have to get to know. So for you guys, what does that perfect baby look like in your mind?
Oh, gosh.
Have you thought about that?
Healthy. I don't know. Sometimes when they weigh more, they look more cooked. So
for you, a nice. So you're saying for you, a nice big baby would be a healthy baby.
I think so.
What about you, Ryan? What do you think? It's a perfect baby.
Yeah, it's hard. A healthy baby.
Healthy baby.
Okay. And have you explored what it might be if it's not? If you have a baby that maybe would be not just perfect,
Right.
because sometimes things happen.
Well, we have a lot of friends who are having babies right around the same time, and some have had minor things like jaundice, or and thankfully no one has had anything major. But at least with seeing some of their experiences, it gives you an idea of what could happen. So we just we've spent a lot of time praying that it will be healthy, and if it's not, that we will.
It's God's will. One way or
right,
another.
that we'll be able to do what we need to do.
Yeah.
However, either way.
And even with all your thoughts about this baby, what it's going to look like, what it might be like, when it's born, you'll have to get to know who it really is, and it's going to be a whole new person with its own temperament and its own personality that's going to form. So thinking about your temperament and then maybe yours and knowing each other the way you do, what do you think your baby might be like as far as temperament goes?
Probably in the middle, because we're so opposite.
So you guys are opposites.
So if it gets a little of both, then I think we'll be.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
Can you guys tell me what you think some of your temperament traits are that the baby might inherit? Whether you're like maybe a real intense person or a real flexible person, or maybe you're adaptable or maybe you're not. What do you think about that?
Well, in those cases, we're both pretty flexible,
Yeah, we
I would
are,
say,
actually.
and fairly easygoing. Just she's a writer, I'm an engineer,
Yeah.
and I guess that kind of designates the way we think. And
He's logical.
she's very creative. So
That was a good word choice.
It is.
And you can look at that as maybe temperament, but also maybe has a little bit to do with gender.
Maybe.
Right.
When we think about genders, not only careers, but genders and temperaments too. And the baby could even inherit temperament from your parents, or if you have siblings. So,
Right.
it's going to be a mixed bag to find out what you're really going to get, and that's the exciting part.
Yeah.
Definitely is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking about yourselves now as husband and wife, What have you thought about what it's going to be like to be a mom and a dad now? How that role is going to change for you and your relationship with each other and other people? And
well, I was just reading the other day that you really have to make sure that your focus doesn't completely center around the child, and that's always the center of attention. Where when you come home after a day's in, you initially take time to talk with your spouse and see how their day was going, and that, from what the book was saying, is a positive role for the child to see that interaction.
Absolutely.
Like Amy was talking, to be able to, just watching the way your parents interact is a big influence on your life. So trying to make sure we do stuff like that, I think would be
That's important
something
to us.
we're going to try to focus on.
That's great that you guys are thinking ahead like this and planning for what it's going to be like, because you really do have to plan for what environment you want the baby to be in, what it feels like, if it's stressful or if it's relaxed, if it's fun or if it's not fun or it's negative. And that does have a big impact on the baby's development. It really does. What do you think it's going to be like when you're maybe 2 or 3 weeks into the birth of this newborn and you haven't slept for a while?
I'm worried about that.
You're worried about that?
Yeah. I like to sleep.
Her sleep.
She enjoys her sleep. What are your plans for feeding the baby?
I'm breastfeeding.
You're going to breastfeed.
Hopefully.
Okay, so that's a great thing you decide to do for your baby.
Yeah.
That's a real hard thing to do.
That's what I hear.
It's a very
From my
hard
friends.
thing to do, but it's so important for the baby, and it's good for you too. So if you find that you're a person that has to sleep a lot, and you need to catch up sometimes, do you have a plan for maybe pumping and letting Brian feed a night feed once in a while to give you a little break?
We do. We
Thought about that?
We have some. I mean, we don't know exactly how it will work out, but we bought a breast pump.
Okay.
And I will be home from work for 4 months, about. But then I'll go back to work, and in theory, I'd like to still be able to breastfeed. So I'm going to need that pump. And then we have parents coming for the first few weeks who will be in the area. So I'm hoping that even if I need a break, I could have a bottle in advance, and they could help out.
Well, if you need any help with that, just call me, because we have a lot of resources, that we can get for you, and I'm certified in breastfeeding, and I can give you tips.
Great.
So feel free to call me,
Oh, good.
with that, because I see you guys so happy and robust today, and I'm looking into the future and 3 weeks down the road from now, thinking, geez, I'm wondering what it's going to be like for them in 3 weeks.
Yeah, we are too.
That's
We're worried.
as well.
Yeah, because if that's laid plans, sometimes,
Sure.
like you say, in theory, they sound good, but it sounds like you guys are thinking ahead, so that's really a great thing.
We're trying.
We took the breastfeeding class. He came with me to the breastfeeding class, which was good.
It was good.
But it was the doll, and it's
Well,
not, it's
so
not
that
the same.
way at 3 a.m. and she's tired and delirious, maybe I can actually be helpful.
You will
because
be
I'll be able
helpful.
to talk to her and help her come up with a solution instead of just standing there going, I don't know what to do.
Right.
Which I probably will be anyway, but at least.
And that's all. And sometimes, it's hard sometimes when you're sleep deprived to make a good decision for yourself, and she'll need somebody to help her. Say, you know what? I think you're just tired. Maybe if you sleep, you'll feel a little better.
Right.
I could take over for a while. And so great to have a dad involved, because sometimes in today's society, we just don't see that.
Yeah.
We see a lot of
He's
single
been great.
moms, and we see dads that are there, but really think it's not their part. Because of the culture they came from, their family culture, to say,
Right.
you know what, that's a woman's job. I'm not involved in that. And to see the dads involved and supportive is just wonderful.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Proud of yourself for that.
He's done really well. He went to daddy boot camp
Oh, he
at one of the
did.
hospitals.
How was that for you?
It was good, actually. Learned how to swaddle, and father brought his newborn in and went through the whole feeding process, changing the diaper, swaddling. Talked about all the things that I guess you would learn fairly quickly, but you'd learn the hard way. So hopefully I'll be able to remember some of those and not
Show
have to
me.
learn the hard. Right.
I don't know how to swaddle.
Right.
So.
when I stop to think about the fact that you don't know the gender of your child, if you do have a son, what have you guys thought about around circumcision? Because that's a big issue with couples sometimes.
We've talked about it, and I think we've decided to circumcise.
We're pretty sure that's the route we want to go. Kind of the thought was, we're not sure that it necessarily has to be done, but with the society, it's kind of custom around here that that's the way guys are, and so maybe so we wouldn't have to always feel different or picked on growing up about that we wouldn't do it just because we, it was something we felt and make him have to live with it. Right. But we're not sure. I mean,
we questioned it definitely. I mean, I think we didn't want to just do the status quo just for the sake of doing it, but at the same time, we don't live in Europe and we don't live out on the West Coast. We live here, and this is what most people do, and what his friends, most of his friends. I mean, so we just thought.
But we're still kind of.
Yeah, I don't know. We've totally decided.
Yeah.
It's a hard choice to make.
It is.
Yeah.
It's definitely a large decision.
And it sounds like the health benefits are pretty much even. Is that correct? So, I guess it's just a cultural thing or a.
I guess you guys put a lot of thought into it.
We have, but we haven't decided the name either. So
we don't even know the name of the child yet.
Do you have a few names picked out?
Yes.
A few. Yeah.
Okay.
No decisions.
We have to look at them first.
Exactly. That's what I found a lot of the moms and dads tell me. They'll pick out a few names, but when they see the baby, they automatically know which one fits.
Right.
So you might find that'll happen too. Right. I know what I wanted to ask you about. Have you gotten a lot of advice from people? Have people called you up and said, blah, 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 XYZ, this is what you should be doing? You find that's happening a lot? And how do you deal with that? Or what do you do with the advice that they give you?
Well, people have taught us a lot of things, so that's good. But sometimes people say things and it just doesn't ring true. So try to let it go in one ear and out the other.
Okay, great.
For some of it, but it is. Sometimes it's disconcerting if you feel like you've made up your mind about something and then someone really starts talking to you, trying to get you to go in another direction, and it's hard when you've never done it before to feel confident.
And I think that something that you might think about, I'll just give you my little bit of advice if you want it, is your roles are all going to change and your relationships are going to change. Your parents are going to become grandparents and you're going to become parents. And then your role in the household will change if I come to see you, because you'll hear my input and you'll get a lot of advice from a lot of people. But what's going to happen basically is you're going to know what's best for you and you're going to know what's best for your baby. You're going to be the expert on your child, because you're going to know that baby more than anyone. And no matter what they tell you, this worked for my child, well, it might work for your child, but it might not. Because all kids are different. They have different temperaments, they're different parents, your family culture in your household is different maybe than theirs. So if you listen and just say thank you, and then maybe it'll work and maybe it won't. Because parenting is really just based on trial and error. There's no handbook to say this is absolutely what's going to happen and this is absolutely what you have to do. Every parent's different, every child's different. And you guys are going to be the expert.
Oh, gosh.
You are? You're going to be the experts. Is that scary?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll be fun.
So good luck with the delivery.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I hope you enjoyed our program. Join us next time on another episode of Positive Parenting Today as we introduce you to more families in our community. We will continue to explore the touch points of child development, as well as bring you topics relevant to the most rewarding role you will ever have, being a parent.